This is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, here on the Voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. And our interview segments brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Joining me now on the phone is the interim acting superintendent for the Blairsville-Saltsburg School District, and he's also their current financial consultant, Philip Martel. And Mr. Martel, thank you very much for joining us here on Indiana in the Morning.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, and then we apologize for this being last minute, but last week Todd Marino had recorded an interview with Mr. Souls, Jeff Souls, who was the outgoing superintendent. But after the announcement made yesterday by Governor Wolf's administration, things have changed a lot, and I know that you, as the interim superintendent, you're still trying to process all of that information that the governor has put out there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the situation is for everyone really in public education today and for families and, throughout the Commonwealth. I mean, this is a very fluid situation nationally, what's going on. It's changing daily. But, we're just looking to put a plan together to make sure that plan, once we can implement that plan, that it creates that healthy and safe environment for our students and our staff, but also being able to provide them with the best quality education that we can, no matter what format that is.
And you coming in as the interim superintendent, it's got to be tough for you to come into this situation almost cold in this. I know that you've been with the district as the acting financial consultant, but to now jump in as the interim superintendent and have this situation come up, it's got to be tough.
It's a tough situation, but being here for a couple months and working with the with the board of directors and with Mr. Souls and his staff. I've been involved with a lot of things because, there's finances and everything. If you look at probably when this is all said and done nationally as a country, we look and see, what we're going to have to spend actually to, make some of these changes and implement them. The figures are going to be very staggering. So, having that knowledge is trying to work because the grants, we've received some significant grants from the federal and state governments. But, Josh, it's never enough. It only covers a portion of it. So you really have to find out where you can reallocate some of those resources within your local district budget, to place and to help those students in this transition.
That's where a good financial consultant like yourself has probably a good advantage in this situation. Let's talk about some of the things that are going on now. We heard that there was going to be a town hall meeting tonight, but that meeting has been postponed because of the governor's recent announcement.
Yeah, it's working with you, obviously, with that recent announcement. But then really, everybody, the districts were all required to submit a health and safety plan, obviously, to the state. Those plans really, they change daily because based on, new guidelines that are that are obviously sent out by the administration in Harrisburg. Mm-hmm. So we're revising our plan. My thought is we're going to I'll ask the board next week to approve the revisions to the plan, which will also look at different operational models that we may be conducting educationally. But then my thought also was then we're going to have the town hall meetings, but I'd like to do them in a Zoom or, an actual person-to-person format because I really feel that the community and the people need to ask questions, but then if they have follow-up questions within a realm of time, I want to try to put them at ease because, that's and with the plan being, approved and in conjunction being offered to the community. We have a lot of questions and answers, within the confines of the plan that they'll be able to see they can get their answers to. Mm-hmm. But to continue to have that dialogue with them through the virtual town hall meetings, but also through social media and other groups, we're going to make every effort to do that.
Okay, so you're going to take to social media, probably like some other districts have, to utilize that as a way to communicate with parents. We talked with Mr. Michael Vukovich yesterday on Indiana in the Morning about the communication that he has been doing, and I would imagine that the communication in Blairsville-Saltsburg, even in this fluid situation, has increased tenfold with the parents.
Yes, and actually, in some sense, because you get a lot of questions, obviously, now we could be doing more, and we're going to do more. And I commend the superintendent for what he's done with Indiana, because I've seen what he's done just a little bit since I've done this. And along the same path, we will be doing a lot of those same measures. Through the different social media outlets, but also the alert nows and different things. And then we will have as many town hall formats or questions to be answered, like any of those sessions that we need to do to make sure that the public is comfortable. I'm also looking to create maybe possible focus groups with our students because I think getting input back from them could be very valuable in this process, because what's working and what's not only just with our staff, but I think just getting that input from the students could be valuable too.
All right, let's talk about what we know right now, and because I know that this can change, and we will warn our listeners that these can change at the drop of a hat. But the plans for the district, as far as going to a either blended or a full online format, like we had at the end of last year, with a blended or online format, you're going to need to be able to get the education out to the students who are homebound for whatever reason, whether they're scheduled to be home or whether they're forced to be home because of stay-at-home orders. How is Blairsville attacking that side of it? I mean, I know that there's a virtual aspect to it that I think the district is trying to put together here to make sure that it goes smoothly when that transition needs to be made.
Sure. We're very aggressive in what we're looking to do, but like a lot of districts, we're running into challenges. Obviously, Blairsville-Saltsburg is a very rural school district, which has a lot of areas that do not have internet connectivity. So that's one of the biggest challenges when you go to either a blended, to a fully digital model, is being able to have the students access that, to access the internet. And really down the line, that's one of the things that our government needs to really think about doing, is almost making the internet like a utility and be able to provide for everyone in this country. Because if anything we take out of this, online learning is going to be, in some form or fashion, is here to stay. We see it in colleges now, completely. So it's just I think it's something we need to move to. But we are attacking it, working with different software and that to be able to try to work, conducive to our staff, to be able to provide the lessons online, to be able to provide the resources. But it's providing its challenges. I mean, you have to make sure your network is up to standards within the district. You have enough bandwidth for your teachers to stream. Like, those are things that normally schools do a little over a period of time to gradually get there because of the lack of money. We're trying to do it overnight. So I just want to make sure whatever we tell the community that we're going to provide for their son or daughter, we're going to be able to do that. So there's no gray area.
You mentioned the fact that doing the digital learning process, and it was interesting that we had a report in our show prep earlier today about possibility of snow days being gone forever because the pandemic has been proving that the digital education models have been working so far. So that could be just one offshoot of it. So ramping up and trying to get it done quickly, you said it's a difficult challenge because of the financial aspect, but what are some of the things that Blairsville-Saltsburg needs to do? Do they need to pick up cameras, more tablets for students? What needs to happen?
Everybody's fighting for devices. That's a great question. There's unfortunately good, bad, or indifferent. These devices come out of China. Obviously, we're having trouble getting things, and I don't know. You can point a lot of things, but everybody's fighting for devices. So the tablets, some of the hotspots for internet connectivity, we're having challenges with. So those are some of the biggest issues, because it's, as I always tell people, districts have been talking about one-to-one initiatives where everybody has a device. There are a lot of things that go into that, but then there are a lot of things to maintain that. It's easy to say you go one-to-one, but how do you maintain what you're doing? Because things in technology change from year to year, as we all know. So once we get to that point, it's just what the state sees. It's like a lot of the other unfunded mandates, unfortunately, that come from the government. The state sees it as a light switch. You turn it on, you immediately just transition to a digital environment. That's not the case at times. Just from not only just from a technology perspective, but from a student-centered perspective too. Because you have students with all different, all different types of needs and different things. Those students have to be accommodated as best as possible. So it's not as easy as I think some believe.
We're talking with Philip Martel, the new acting interim superintendent for the Blairsville-Saltsburg School District, on Indiana in the Morning, as we continue a series of interviews with superintendents across the Indiana County region as we talk about getting ready to go back to school in this time of coronavirus. So I wanted to ask, in your interaction with the Blairsville-Saltsburg School District, let's take a look at things on the teacher side. And the teachers have had to adapt their programming to go to a digital format if they need to. How have they been adapting to it, and have they really caught on to the digital component of this?
We're like anything else in life. We all learn at different levels in different ways. So we have, the teachers work very good collectively together. You have some obviously stronger in technology than others, and that's okay. But they're able to collaborate together to do that. But we have to make sure that those resources that they have, that they're also, because we're on this fast track, that I don't want to overwhelm them because some of these software things you can't put in overnight. Like there's a transitional period, different things, but I think it's important to just say, okay, what do we need to get started with the school year? But then looking in a big picture type of where we want to be, but having that collaboration take place over the over the course of the next year to be able to evaluate different types of software, what worked, what didn't, I think is very important because in this day and age, with 80% of school budgets being fixed, when you purchase something, you really need a return on investment, whether that be ease of use, increasing student achievement, those types of things. So it's important to get that feedback, but I commend them for their efforts and for what they're trying to accomplish as well.
All right, so the delay in school is going to be up to September 8th, and that's looking to like it's going to be the day that things are going to get underway. Whether it is going to be a in-person format, a blended format, or a strictly online format. How hard is it going to be to pull the trigger and say, hey, we need to do this, or we need to do that, or we're going to go in this direction?
I really think in the next couple of weeks, as we've seen this evolve, I think it's going to kind of take care of itself. We see today possibly today that was being announced, obviously the college football, the big divisions aren't going to play. Mm-hmm. I think it's just going to continue to evolve at that point until where finally, hopefully, the state government would just say to everyone, you're going to go online for the first 9 weeks so we can see cases continue to diminish. Because what we don't want is what happened in Georgia, obviously. And that's just, those things are very hard to avoid from a social distancing perspective in schools. It's almost nearly impossible. Mm-hmm. So trying to make that work in this type of environment is a very difficult challenge. But we're going to be ready to go in any format. I think that's important. It's just going to take more planning. It would be nice to say, okay, we're just going to go this track for our staff and our parents and students. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at right now.
Right. A lot of work still needs to be done, but you have the time to do it because of that date being September 8th now. Philip Martel, the acting interim superintendent for the Blairsville-Saltsburg School District. Thank you very much for joining us live here on Indiana in the Morning. It's a pleasure to meet you, and this is actually your first appearance on Indiana in the Morning, and we invite you back anytime when in your time as the interim superintendent to come on the show and talk about things going on at Blairsville-Saltsburg.
I appreciate that, and it's nice to be with you.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, that was Philip Martel, the interim superintendent for Blairsville-Saltsburg School District. Now, we had planned on playing an interview with Jeff Soules, but unfortunately, because of the things that have been going on over the past 24, 36 hours, we felt maybe it wasn't right to play that interview because it might have old facts that might not apply now because of the governor's recommendations for school districts in Indiana County. As you know, we are in the moderate phase, so the recommendation from the Wolf administration is to go to either a blended or all online format. Again, that may be up to the individual districts to decide, but we're going to incorporate that as part of our interviews now with the superintendents of the various school districts. And I should mention that all of our interviews are presented by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people.